Right then, guys, welcome back to the Once You're In podcast. I think this is episode 9. It probably won't be a long one. This will be a bit of a shorter one. We're a bit short for time, but we'll just chat shit like we normally do, run through a couple of questions. I haven't got many questions, mate. And I was going to chat about the England squad. I was going to ask you about that, but I forgot. So we can talk about that if you want.
Is this turning into a football podcast?
Yeah, it could do.
Football podcast.
Once you're in.
Anything other than bodybuilding.
Yeah, well, once you're in could relate to out, really, couldn't it? So we could talk about anything.
Yeah. I saw the provisional squad had got announced or whatever.
Yeah.
And I saw that Trent was in there. I think that's the number one. That's what a lot of people are interested in.
That's all you're.
I'm not too sure if our demographic is going to be interested, but
I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't really looked through. Have you looked through the squad, or are we going through? Are we going through starting 11s? You're going to rattle through that.
We can do if you want. I had the the Sky Sports live stream on just as I was waiting for you to enter. Yeah, there's only a few that have missed out that people would say shouldn't have missed out, but I think they should really.
Okay.
Like Eric Dyer, people are like, oh, he should have been in it. Like, no, he shouldn't.
It's because he's a squad player, mate. He can fill in midfield, CB.
Yeah, but he's poor in it.
Utility man.
I've never really rated him. Danny Ings, people saying that he should have been in it, which I kind of get that.
I don't think so.
As long as Phil Foden's in it, mate, we're going to win. So it don't matter.
Finn has a love affair with. Finn said that he sees himself in Phil Foden. So they're very similar players when they both played.
I didn't say that. About.
He's got a soft spot. He said he's the English Messi. English Messi.
He is the English Messi. I'm saying that. I did say that.
He said he's going to guide us. He's going to win us the Euros. That's what he said.
I said
you
it
actually did.
Surprise.
I'm not even joking when we say that.
I said it wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
He's that good. And people listening now, if they think that's incorrect, then they haven't seen him play.
Yeah. No, I saw the UCL, Twitter page. They put up like a highlight reel, and I watched it just of him in the Champions League, and I was like, "Oh, this guy actually looks all right. He doesn't look bad."
Like Messi?
I don't think he's bad.
He's insanely good, mate.
I don't think he's bad.
He's insanely good.
No, I just don't see. I don't see how someone who's not physically absolutely spectacular can make it at the absolutely elite level. Like, mate, he's not rapid. He's quick.
He's very fast.
But he's not.
Fast.
Yeah, he's very fast. I'm not saying he's not, but he's not lights
I honestly
out.
think
like,
that
he's
you
not
can say that
forward.
You could say that about a lot of the players that are like top players. Like, I'm not saying he is Messi, but he's not far off.
No, okay, but just all I'm saying, name a creative midfielder who's not got ridiculous pace in the last 10 years who's done well. Like really well, like elite level. I'm talking
not got
top
pace.
3 players in his position. Yeah, like slow. Not got pace, but like, you know what I mean? Not slower than Phil Foden. So try and name someone around that bracket.
But
Neymar,
he doesn't really
rapid.
play. Yeah, but he doesn't play in those positions. Like,
Messi,
I know it.
Messi, fast. Even the right winger. He played in the middle.
He doesn't play like
Ribery,
that, does he?
fast. No, he's been playing on the left wing.
Yeah, but not on. It's not like he's not a winger, is he? Like Man City don't play wingers, out and out wingers, like any of those players you've just said.
Okay, so you're saying he's in the middle?
Yeah, he's more of like a.
And he can't track back.
He doesn't play there.
Yeah, see, this is the thing with him. He doesn't.
Yeah, but you're looking at it. You're looking at it like actual,
a good level. He's not.
You're looking at it like attributes on paper. You're looking at it as if he's on FIFA. Like, if you actually watch him play,
like he's on FIFA.
You're going, is he fast? Is he this? Is that? It doesn't matter. He's that good.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying, no. In today's game, mate, we're in the pace and power era. Every single player is juiced up to the gills, probably. So, like, it's almost a sense of saying, right, if he doesn't, mate, you look at Bayern Munich's team, last year, every single one of them are absolutely huge. You've got Alphonso Davies, he doesn't even look like a footballer at times. It's Adama Traore as a left back. You've got Goretzka, who's like probably added 20 pounds of lean tissue. He's been doing a push-pull lower split for the last 6 months.
Literally, you can say whatever. Like, give it not even 5 years. Give it like 2-3 years, and you'll be like, oh yeah, fucking hell, you were right. And I'll be like, I know.
No, he's good. I just don't think. I think Phil Foden's cap is like, his potential is a very, very good player. But I don't think he's got like lights out. Like, he's not going to be on Haaland or Mbappe's level. I can't imagine him in 5 years being on that level. He's not generational.
That's different in terms of like goal scoring, isn't it? Again, like Haaland and Mbappe, it's just because it's numbers. Again, it is just numbers now, which is sad. If it was irrelevant of numbers, if you were just watching how people play, like, you'd be like, he is up there with like the best by like a long way. Yeah, but you got like I don't like that about football now. How it's all just so statistic based. I get it because it does make sense to an extent, but you can't have a statistic of just like how good someone is to watch. You know what I mean? Like how like well they move around the pitch and stuff like that. Like how good their touch is. Like that's not a statistic.
Like Salah will probably retire with like a better legacy than like Frank Ribery and Ian Robben.
Yeah,
you know. But if you watch them, you're like, ugh. And I'm a Liverpool fan. I can't like, you know, it's harsh. Like Ronaldinho, I think he dropped like plus 15 goals in the league twice. And then other than that, you get like, I think he won the Ballon d'Or and he had 8 goals and 7 assists.
But again, it's like that in today's how he played and watching him play.
Yeah.
It's entertainment in it. Like I guess at the end of the day.
That's the reason why I said Phil Foden doesn't surprise me. He's been shifted out on the wing, or he's like, we don't have creative number 10s really anymore.
Yeah.
So I think so basically, if you were to take a prediction, where are England finishing in the Euro 2020? Because I think that's what it's called, even though it's 2021.
It is called that. It's stupid.
Really weird. I think it's just so we keep in tradition, but it's like, well, no, because no one's going to go, oh, do you remember Euro 2020 and 2021? Like, it's so awkward, that.
So awkward, mate. So awkward.
So awkward, you know. I just cringe thinking about it. Oh, it's just so awkward.
I don't know. I reckon our group, what is it? Who have we got? We've got Croatia, Scotland. Who else have we got? I think I've got someone else who's not great.
Yeah.
But yeah, you never know with us. I think, like I've said to you, like I wouldn't be surprised if we won. Usually I wouldn't say that because I think we've been pretty poor like in recent years. But like with how our team is now, like I actually think we have a good chance. And I haven't in the past.
Yeah, I agree. I think we've
even
got a
like
good chance,
last World Cup when we got to the semis, I was like, we weren't good enough.
Yeah, I think it's scandalous a back five's even in debate with the attacking flair that we have. Yeah. I think personally we'll get knocked out in the semis. I think it'll be a Portugal and France final, and I think France will win. That's my prediction.
You're going to put a bet
we'll see.
You're going to put your first ever bet on?
No, I haven't got the money. I haven't got as many clients.
I got enough clients.
I wouldn't be able to afford a bet. I just can't feasibly say I could let go with some money. I wouldn't be able to justify it. My accountant would say, Reece, you know this is another outgoing, and you haven't made as much money as the last month. I'm like, oh fuck, sorry. I'll refrain from spending it. And he's like, you've seen these OnlyFans come out as well, and I'm like, mate, I can't get rid of them. He's like, well, you need more clients, mate. This is coming out. You've got Snapchat premiums.
You've got 18 OnlyFans membership. I can't get rid of them. They're necessary for the business.
Yeah, they go through a business expense. That's what it is. Business expenses, literally OnlyFans. Like, Reece, you know you subscribe to 24 OnlyFans this month, additionally onto the 18 you had. And I'm like, yeah. So?
Because I lost a few clients. I was trying to drown my sorrows.
Imagine, every client you lose, you get another OnlyFans subscription. You
just try and make up for it.
Like, Reece, did you tip this girl as well? You're like, yeah, she asked for tips. I think, mate, I saw something, and this is awful. This is such a weird podcast. They do like dick reviews, and you have to pay to get your dick reviewed. I mean, that's ridiculous.
You've done it, haven't you?
No.
No. Is that why you could wee? Is that why you could wee in Ultraflex yesterday? Because you had a girl tip you and tell you it's not that small.
Yeah. I have a bit of a. No. I think we'll make it apparent for the listeners. I have a bit of a weird phobia, in the sense of like, I don't know why. I have
it's
no.
It's quite a common thing, I think.
Do you reckon? Like, it's like my brain just doesn't work. I go to the toilet, need the toilet. If some guy comes next, if I go to the toilet and there's already someone there, I'm sound. But you know, if someone startles me when I'm about to,
she comes up, she goes,
yeah, I'm like, no, I'm going, I'm like, I can't do it. And I just stand there and I'm like, right, I'm hoping this guy finishes soon. That sounds a bit weird, with his dick out. But I'm hoping he finishes going to the toilet, so therefore I can then partake in my toilet adventure. Because if not, I'm just stood there like, this is a bit unproductive. So
I don't get it. I find it really like I do find it odd, but I think it is. I think it's more common than you'd reckon. I think like a few guys will get nervous like when someone else is stood there.
I don't even get nervous though.
You obviously do. Like subconsciously, there's something.
Yeah, subconsciously.
Yeah.
Mate, I genuinely, if the guy next to me looked at me and goes, and commented on I'd be like, yeah, sound. I don't care. I'd be like, yeah, sound. I wouldn't mind. It's just weird, but I don't know. So we've covered everything, mate. I mean, 10 minutes in, 15 minutes in.
Just leave it there. Great episode.
Yeah, I know, fantastic episode. But yeah, on a general chat, what was your prediction? You said about the football. You didn't mention. You reckon England are gonna do it?
I'll
Do you reckon
I'll just say that, and then if they do, I can be like, yeah, I predicted that ages ago. So I'll just say, yeah, England are going to win.
Fair enough.
I'll be really patriotic.
You know why I hope Trent goes, and this is the final point, mate. It'd be fantastic to see Trent v Robbo. Scotland v England.
Yeah, that would be
Trent
good.
and Robbo. That because they'd be on the same side, wouldn't they?
Yeah, I think he will go. I think it'd be harsh not to take him. I think he'll take 3. He's got 4, I think he's got 4 right backs in the squad. I think he'll take 3. But
yeah,
we said, didn't we? Trippier should probably miss out.
Yeah,
I don't watch him every week, so
yeah. I don't know. I'm not too sure if he's done well. He was banned for something. I can't remember exactly, but he was banned for a certain amount of time, He didn't play for like 10 games or whatever. So I'm not too sure if that was I'm surprised. I don't know why Trent wouldn't be in, if I'm honest. I think Trent should be in.
Yeah.
I can understand in a sense because he isn't like the England system isn't fitted around Trent how it is at Liverpool, where like he's given the ball, he's the main playmaker. But like if you're going off, he's been the best right back in the world for the last like 2 or 3 years, pretty much. Like you can't really make a debate. Like you could make a debate
apart
for Robbo
from
not
like
being
the first half of this season.
Yeah, mate, he had COVID at the start and he was poor till like December. He was really poor for his standards. And then after then, I think it was a bit annoying because Liverpool went through that poor patch, when we were dire from like January till March. And I think he was like almost scapegoated. But in a sense, he was our best player like through that period. Like he was really good.
Yeah.
So it was a bit harsh because we were good at the start of the year and he was poor. And then he was really good and we were poor. And he was almost blamed. So yeah, it's a bit unfortunate, but yeah, Trent would be on the plane for me. To be fair, I don't really have an audacious team. Like it would be the exact same probably as yours. However, you'd be having Foden as your captain and
Foden
saying
Foden just free
Foden
run,
on
mate.
pens.
Just give the ball to Foden and he'll run past everyone and score.
Yeah. Would you have Rashford in your team?
No, not in the starting 11. No,
you wouldn't have him in your starting 11.
I said to you, I don't think he fits in there. Like, and mate, I don't even think like. I think Sterling, Rashford, Sancho. Like I'd rather have, and people have been like, "Well, I'd rather have like Foden and Greenwood."
Oh, that's shocking. Yeah, I thought you were going to be like big man, little man.
I like Rashford. To be fair, like I wouldn't mind if Rashford. Like I think he'd warrant a start, but I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't start.
Mate, with your opinions, you'll be saying bring Mikel Antonio on. He'll be a good impact.
I don't think they're taking him.
He offers something different. That's what you'd be saying. You'd be saying
Bellingham, Foden, and Greenwood.
Yeah. all like Calvert-Lewin impacts up. Mate, you literally have the opinion of like the average 40-year-old bloke at the pub who's like, you know what? I reckon DCL he can lead us to glory. He offers something different. He can run the channels.
Yeah. I'd rather watch us play good football and like I'd rather put a team out that it's like nice to watch because they're all good footballers than put a team out that I think would win. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I know what you mean. You'll be saying next time John Stone's too much of a pansy. Get Nat Phillips in. He knows how to win a header. That's what you'll be saying.
We'll lose the first game and I'll be like, we need to get Foden out. He's not doing what he needs to do.
He'll drop a disaster class and but then you'll be like, he's only young.
No, I'll go against him straight away. As soon as he had a bad game, I'll be like, fucking hell, Foden. Horrendous.
But yeah, it's on podcast now, mate. It's on the once you're in, you're in. So once you've said the opinion, you've got to stick to it. Yeah. Anyway,
someone commented on the last episode. We were talking about being old. And we were like, once when you're getting old, you get older. Someone commented, once you're old, you're old. And I was like, that's good.
Once you're old, you're old. featuring depression. That's what it's going to be.
I can't remember who it was.
But yeah, no. How's life, mate? Anything that you want to report on the podcast? Anything special? Nothing? Or
not really, mate. We could talk about my digestion, like I was moaning about yesterday, but
yeah, Finn's had a record off-plan meal every single day for the last week, and he has no idea why his digestion's bad. Like it was his birthday. He had birthday cake, didn't do any check-ins. He then went round and played like barnyard golf or whatever it's called. Junkyard golf, I think that's what it is. I think it's junkyard. Junkyard is what it's called, junkyard golf. Mate, there's a junkyard golf. That's what it's called. And the
It's
one in
called-
Leicester, it's like treetop
called
golf, isn't it? Something like that.
Adventure
Where'd
golf.
you go? Ah, well, Finn went mini
It was
golfing.
an adventure as well.
Yeah, adventure golf. Yeah, and literally, it wasn't, like I said, adventure. Not really much. You kind of go in, you go out. Oh,
You
fantastic
go around
adventure.
the 18 holes that you're allowed. Massive adventure.
That you have to pay for, and like there's a few different courses and whatever. And I bet you were like, which one should we go on? I bet it was
There's only
proper
two.
like. Oh, is there? Which one did you go on? Did you go on the best or did you just
the right
go
one?
around?
I swear I've been on the left one loads of times, and Shannon was like, Shannon thought, I think I've been on the left one loads. Shannon said, we've only been once. I've only been once with Shannon. And she said she'd been on the right one. And I was like, I'm sure we've been on the left. So anyway, we did the right one. Next time we'll do the left, we said.
Did I tell you once, and this is actually quite a funny story, I went to the same place like when I was in Leeds with like two different girls, and I had to pretend. I think I said to her like, "Oh, I've never been." Like I didn't mean to say it, and I had. And I was like, I went up to the desk and I was like, "Oh, I've never come here before. Which one?" No, and bear well in mind, I was there a week ago. I was like, "Can we go on this one?"
I remember I said to you, mate, they won't have remembered you. And you were like, yeah, they would. Yeah, they would.
No,
I was like, no, they wouldn't.
I didn't say that. No,
Yeah,
I didn't say that.
I remember for a fact, you were like, I'd be quite memorable. You said I'd be quite memorable. I'm like, I'm a bit, tall and I'm bigger than most people. That's what you said.
I don't think I said this. And if I did, this would have been like 2 years ago at this point.
You
Either way, I didn't get
did.
busted. I didn't get busted. And I ended up doing all the courses. I didn't want to do the same course. Like, I didn't want to come. It was the first girl. It was awful. It was appalling night. I didn't want to do the first course and then say to this
because she beat you.
No, I've never lost in mini golf or anything, and I'm horrendous with my hands in all situations.
But, like, no disrespect to any of the females playing the podcast,
no disrespect.
Listening to the podcast, like, whenever I've played against a girl, they do struggle at it.
It's the hand-eye coordination. They're just appalling at it, and that's not a general
That's not all the females. That's just the females I've played against.
Yeah, the selection of females have been poor.
Yeah,
we need to scout out better females. So Shannon, see you later. We need
good
further
enough at
ones.
golf. I'm sorry, it's not going to work.
Yeah, no, it's not going to work. No, imagine. But yeah, so that was that. And then what your digestion you said was poor. Finn was lying on the kitchen floor for 2 hours on Sunday, pregnant.
I have this thing. I'll go through it quickly. Like, I've had it a few times. My mates will know. Like, when I've had Nando's, my mate, as soon as I tell this story, my mate's like, "Oh, fucking hell," because I talk about it a lot. Like, I get this thing where sometimes, like, this feels like there's somewhat like trying to push out of my stomach after I've eaten. I usually get it after Nando's, or I have done in the past like 2 or 3 times, like to the point where it's like horrendous. But yeah, I got it on Sunday, and it's not ideal. So I have to find ways to try and make it feel better. And lying on a cold floor, pretty much naked, is a good way. So I did that, and it did help. But it's just a bit on and off at the minute. I've been messaging Shannon about it today because I felt it again today, like nowhere near as bad. But I'm thinking it's something in meal 2, something on the M2, on M2. Something in M2 that's causing it, but then I can't think what it would be because I've taken the smoked salmon out, didn't have that today, and I still felt a bit grim. I can't imagine it'd be eggs because I've had eggs in for ages, and it's not, like I said to you, it's not a case of like they're not sitting well. It's not like, oh, it's just not sitting well and I just don't fancy it. It's a case of like something is disturbing my digestive system. I can't imagine it's pineapple, but it might be. But again, I've had that in for ages. And then the only other thing I have is fruit juice. But then Shannon did say potentially it's that meal 1 and meal 2 are a bit too close together, and they are pretty close together. I eat meal 1 at like 6 and meal 2 at 8, so they are quite close together.
Oh my god, they're not 2.5 hours in between.
No.
You're not aware of the MPS limit, like ramifications.
I just love having my MPS spiked constantly. I don't like it to come down at all. So I eat, actually, I've got a drip in my wrist right now.
An IV drip.
And it's just constant flow of EAAs. So I don't want
okay. What about in like midway through the night? Even then, like when you're sleeping, you're consuming protein?
Yeah, I've got the IV going in.
Yeah, fair enough. And what kind of protein? Is it fast digesting?
Yeah, I have casein throughout the night. I mean, even though I'm having it all the way through, I'm having a constant flow of it. It's got to be casein still because it's in the evening, and obviously slow digesting in it. So yeah, but no, I'm just to give some value with these digestive issues. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna taper like different foods out, put others in, and see if I can assess which it would be. And if it's still not improving, then what I was thinking is I'll probably do like a week or so of lower calories and then push back up.
Oh, food break.
I feel like I don't think I'd need it, like, but I think that would probably help it, something like that. And I'd probably lose like a couple of pounds. That'd be it, and then it'd be straight back up to normal food. So it wouldn't be a diet phase or anything like that. It wouldn't impact my training at all. But I think that might be something to look into. But yeah, I think it must just be some food that's just not sitting quite right and causing issues. But it didn't impact my session yesterday, really, did it? Like, I was fine by the time I was training. And at the minute, it does just seem to be after that second meal. So I need to assess it properly and play around with it.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. Makes sense. I think I'm not going to say it is linked to being in the gaining phase, but like you will eventually get some negative feedback on certain things that don't even really make much sense. Like I said to you yesterday, I had it with like egg whites where I had them in for a whole fat loss phase and then into a gaining phase, and they were fine. And all of a sudden it was like someone flicked a switch and I was like, this is not sitting well with me. So like I had to pull them out, and I still had eggs in on non-training days, but training days I had to completely get rid of them. And I almost used like when I had COVID, in Feb, I used that as like an intermittent food break, and it was fantastic. My appetite prior to that was horrendous. I then got it and my appetite was even worse. I struggled to eat. I lost like 4 kilos worth of fullness. And then I could push food back up, and I pushed up a further like 20 pounds of body weight. And that was only really down to the food break that I had from COVID, obviously struggling to eat and stuff like that. Like appetite levels were pretty much in the bin. And I made a few food swaps. I said to you, like I had frozen fruit and yogurt, completely took that out. It wasn't really worth it. And I swapped a few meals around. But I think you get to a stage where like, I'm not a fan. Like I say this to you, and the clients will say like, I feel like I need to do this, I need to do that. Often in gaining phases, it is hard to push food up and you just have to continue. But at a time, like, is a week's worth of food being lower going to affect your performance? No. Could it spike further appetite potentially in the future? Yeah. So it makes sense. Like it's not something that I'd be like, well, you're silly, you're going to take a step backwards,
The thing is as well, like, obviously because I know like how to push food, and I've pushed food hard before. Like, it's not that I'm full. I'm not even full, mate. Like, that's not the issue. It's not that I've not got an appetite. It's not that I am struggling to get the food in, because I'm not even on like that high food, because my expenditure is quite low. Like, I'm not on anywhere near as much as I've been on before. I don't feel like I'm shoveling food down, because I'm not. But like I say, the issue isn't that. Like, the digestive issue at the minute isn't that, like, I'm eating too much and I've not got an appetite. So that's why I'm sort of thinking, like, would it actually be beneficial to do that? That's why I'm looking into obviously just taking the food, like specific food groups out first. But I've not changed anything. You know what I mean? So it's not like I've added anything in. But like I said, it happens every now and again anyway, like in the past. So it's a little bit weird. But yeah, it is what it is. I'll get it sorted either way. It's not enough to negatively impact like my training properly. Like, even if like on Sunday, even if it was a training day, like I'd have still managed to train. You know what I mean? I'd have still gone to the gym, and I'd have felt probably fucked for the first 5 minutes. My heart rate would have gone up. I'd have probably taken some pre and I'd be fine. But it's just like, when it hits me, it's painful, to be fair. But yeah, I just need to have a look at what it could be in that second meal, because I think it is that. Yeah.
No, that makes sense. Makes sense. Gotta ask, mate, what's up with your forearm? Are you okay?
Yeah, mate. I've got like, because I've eaten, when I've eaten my body like every month or so. So I've got like, when I do it, I get like little, almost like, they're like ingrown hairs, but they're not. They're almost like little blackheads like on my arms. So I'm just squeezing them, mate. That's what I'm doing right now.
Okay. Yeah, I was looking. I was like, something's up with his forearm. I'm not too sure.
I've broken it. Shit. I've broken it during the podcast.
Broken. Oh, no. Not going to be able to train tomorrow. Wouldn't surprise me, mate.
Just a quick check-in. I've somehow broke my arm during the podcast, so I'm not going to be able to train anymore. Can I cancel my direct debit?
Yeah, can I cancel? Can I go on pause until it's fixed? I can imagine. No, shocking, but yeah. No, fair enough. That's all good. I'll give an update about myself. You didn't ask. Cheers.
Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Thanks. Probably everyone's already listened to the podcast. They listened to me not being able to go to the toilet, and they've gone, you know what? Finn's talking about like his digestion, and it just took him
turned off.
Turned off, clicked off. Once you're in, you're not in. That's it. But no, everything's good. I saw a low weigh-in today. Finally, I was 104.1 kilos. I've been sitting around the high 104s for the last what feels like eternity, but in reality, it's not. It's about a week. My average weight has gone down over the last week, but my actual range of body weight hasn't. So it hasn't dropped. So instantly, you start to get a bit paranoid, and I'm like, I need to make changes. I need to make changes. When in reality, I knew a big drop was going to come. So I think I was like 0.7 of a kilo lighter than I've been before, which is not a lot. I was expecting it. But I pulled down carbohydrates on non-training days down to now it's into, I think it's 355. It might be like 356 or 357. So I pulled down, I took out a bagel, which is such a shame. Like bagels are one of the only food sources that I actually quite actively enjoy. So I've lost a bagel. I said to you, just lost a bagel. Woke up, lost one bagel, was disappeared, and I was like, oh great, gonna have to swap it out. So frozen fruit's gone into M4, but everything else other than that is all good. Cardio is in now. I'm not too sure. We had the podcast on Friday, so I kind of spoke about cardio, but cardio's on 20 minutes every non-training day. Kind of gives me a good window, because on training days anyway, like with how I've got my schedule, I'll usually get back and I'll have like 15 to 20 WhatsApps, and about 8 of them will probably be like form feedback. So I'll, mate, I think you finished on the way back from Rotherham yesterday. Finn was like, oh, I'm done here.
I know, because I got back to them all throughout the day. I smashed through them, to be fair, yesterday.
Yeah, I don't get any sent over through the morning though. Like, all my clients seem to train at the same time I do. So it's like I finish training and I'm like, right, time to relax. And I see 35 WhatsApp messages come through. I'm like, yes, this is sick. But yeah, so it gives me a bit of time. Like I can get on my non-training days, and my usual intro to the voice notes is like, hey mate, hope you're well, appreciate the videos. Apologies, it's in the morning to get back to them. Thought I'd get around to them doing cardio. If it sounds out of breath, it's because I am. Because like I get around to like the latter few, and I'm literally like trying to talk through how I want him to align his elbows, or how I want her to, let's say, position her feet on the squat. And I'm like, so I'm struggling. So hopefully my CV capabilities can get a bit better.
I'm sure
that would be good.
I'm sure that joke won't get old for your clients at all, mate.
Mate, it's exact same. Like I feel like I've only said it to everybody once, but I would have said it to a few twice.
Yeah, loads of times. So, and I'll be like, fucking hell.
Yeah, fucking hell, the same intro. But to be fair, I think we're quite robotic, because you say, like, I end up going on not tangents in check-ins because I'm quite concise, but I'll go through and say certain things, and I'm almost like reading off a script in my mind. And I'm like, right, I've actually got to talk like it's me. Like sometimes you'll kind of just get in a flow, and I'm like, I've said this before, you know, and you almost get into a rhythm of how you deliver certain things.
Yeah, we said, don't we? Like we have like the same outro to check-ins every time.
Yeah, exact same time. And I struggle if not. Like, I'll do an application response, and the amount of application responses that I butcher in the first 10 seconds is crazy, because it's the most infrequent kind of thing that you do. Like, I wouldn't know the exact, but let's say I get 4 applications a week. It might be we've said this before. I'm not too sure if people are listening that are coaches, but like, you'll go through periods where I've had 4 in like 6 hours, and then I'll have none in 2 weeks, and then you'll have 5 in 2 days. It's really inconsistent. But if, let's say, you get a one-off and you haven't had one for 4 days, 5 days, my usual intro and application, like, I'll say something like, welcome to the intro video. And I'm like, what the fuck am I saying? I'll end it. And I'm like, I gotta redo. Like, they take me a good amount of time because I'm not used to that routine. Once I'm in, I'm in. But getting into one, yeah. I know, mate, I said that's the joke.
Nah, no. I was saying, it sounded like your mic was going weird.
Oh.
It is going a bit weirder. Are you hitting it or something?
No, I think might be. I'm not too sure. Is it sounding weird, or is it okay?
It's just like a bit.
I'm not too sure. Is it still bad?
Are you using your thingy one? Your little one?
Yeah, I'm using the blue. I'll switch it if you want. Right. Does that sound better?
Yeah.
It must be the blue snowball. This prick. Yeah, that's him. He's fucked it for us.
He's fucked it. For the whole podcast. We're gonna have to cancel this one, mate. Come back next week. See you next week.
Mate, right, I wouldn't surprise me if we did a podcast and it was muted or something. Like, I'm surprised we haven't had any technical difficulties.
I'm surprised I haven't forgot to press record or something before.
Yeah. Well, now we get alerted. We get told podcast recording.
Come on, because I've got to get going. We haven't got any questions. Right, how many questions you got?
Like 2. What about you?
I think I've got 3.
Sound, go for it.
Right. Jacob, 18. This is a good question, to be fair. Can only do one movement for each body part forever. What would you choose?
So we have to go through each muscle group and say this is what we're doing.
Yeah. Should we start from the bottom
yeah.
up or top down?
Yeah, bottom up. We'll both, okay, calf raise, like, I'd go for a seated calf raise.
Yeah.
Like, seated calf raise, spot on. Okay, hamstring and seated ham, live fitness. Oh, are we counting like a hip hinge? Or can we say that? Because that, if a hamstring focus movement, can we do a stiff leg?
You've got to choose one. Are we going to go with machine as well, or like the actual brand, or just the movement?
I think it's the movement. It depends. If you were allowed like a stiff leg or like an RDL, I go for an RDL. But if we're counting that as I go for an RDL for hamstring. If not, seated ham.
RDL. Seated ham.
Yeah, seated ham. Yeah, you wouldn't be able to do 1 week.
I can't fucking hinge, so seated ham. Yeah. Quads.
Oh, I go personally for a hack.
Pendulum.
Yeah, or a leg press.
Any form of squat that's not a back squat, or like any back supported squat, I'd say.
Okay, they say V squat.
It's not, but I was thinking, whenever I think of a V squat, I think of a reverse V squat. I don't even think of a normal V squat because they're just not great.
Yeah, but what you say anything and they give you a V squat, what would be your opinion? You'd be like,
I'd just do it as a reverse and I'd be like, yeah, it sounds too
You can't do it. You got to do it with the back.
You've got to have back support.
Yeah, you've got to do it that way. You can't.
Right, a hack squat, a pendulum squat, or a true squat.
What about a leg press?
No.
You'd want the knee flexion.
What do you mean I'd want the knee flexion? I don't get any knee flexion on a leg press.
I don't know, to be fair. Your hammer strike leg press. Yeah, it's not great. It's not great. So yeah, that'd be that. Okay, makes sense. I'd agree. I go hack. I go for a Cybex hack. Sound spot on. Right. Obliques.
Do glutes.
Glutes. Yeah, not a hip drive. Yeah, the best hip drive in the game. The only hip drive that people say is the best hip drive in the game. Lower abs. We breaking down each abdominal. That's what we want.
Adductors, mate. What would you do for adductors?
I think lower is so simple. Yeah, lower is so simple. I'd want one of those standing adductor machines. No, imagine a cuffed cable hip adductor. Fantastic. Yeah, I have Finley doing that. Shocking.
Abs.
Right.
Any form of ab crunch machine.
Yeah.
To be fair, no, a cable. I'd do it.
Yeah, like a rope cable ab crunch is what I was going to say.
I wouldn't do it with a rope. I'd do it with the handles. Don't like it.
Yeah. Free range at the wrist.
No, not even that. It just fucking crushes your fingers, doesn't it, on the rope?
Yeah. No, it makes sense. Right. Chest. We're going up like that way. So we'll do. Right. So push, like a horizontal push. Challenging one. This. I think we can rule off matrix chest press. No.
I'd say a form of chest press machine that you connect the best with, that you can progress the most. I get if we were to actually if we were to pick something that was probably the most perfect, I'd say a D-handle cable press, but I don't like them that much when I've done them in the past. Like just use
ball ache to get into.
Huh?
Yeah. Ball ache
getting into the stability, like when I've done it, hasn't felt great. But I think if we were to look at something that would be the most optimal, that would maybe be a good shout.
Yeah, I'd go, that, or like I'd probably just go for like a low incline dumbbell press.
Dumbbell presses.
You can just tick off more musculature. You can probably say, it's going to get a bit more like top line emphasis. I'd go for a low incline dumbbell press personally, but you could argue could it be a machine, but I go low incline dumbbell. Just I enjoy it as well, so that'd be that.
What about like
shoulder focus movement?
What about from a stability aspect? Like if will you still have dumbbells in when you're about to compete?
No, I won't even have dumbbells in next week. So that's going to be a driver. But if I'm honest, are you going to compete and be on a level playing field when you can only do a hack squat and you get a V squat instead because you say, any squat variant, and they give you a V squat, you're like, fuck. Like, I'm not going to compete. My legs will be shit. No, I can't do a leg extension. That's
why I wouldn't pick a free weight movement, because if it was the only movement you could do forever, like imagine when it's not like progressing well.
Imagine like the mental. Imagine going thinking, yes, I'm getting so amped up for my chest press on the D handle chest press today, cable press. Can't wait. Just be like, oh,
I know.
boring. Like you
When
get
you think
bored.
of it, logically like that, as to actually doing it, it sounds
Yeah,
awful. So
yeah,
we've just got to think there. Don't think of it in real life. Just think if like you had to pick the best
yeah,
exercise.
yeah. Right. Shoulders. I'm gonna go for a cuffed lying lateral or a cuff standing
Yeah,
lateral. Anything
just
cuffed.
any form of cuff lateral.
Yeah. And the reasons, if you go for a low incline dumbbell, you're gonna get a bit of the anterior delt anyway. So two in
Yeah,
one.
I think like when with any press, like when I've obviously said like a D-handle press or any form of machine chest press that you connect well with, like you're gonna get a decent amount of front delt anyway.
Yeah. And my
But
rear delts are shit, so I wouldn't want to emphasize my rear delts.
are we breaking back down into lats, traps, etc.? Or are we
I
just saying
what
back
I think maybe just having like a lat focused and
and like a
like
mid
a
and upper
lat
body?
focused pull down and or row or whatever it's going to be, and then like maybe like a mid to upper back emphasize movement if you want to do that.
Yeah.
So mid focus, what lat focused? Are we going to go for? Can you do a row and a pull down, or are we just going
Nah,
for
you don't
one?
need both. You've got to pick one.
Yeah, I'd go for probably a single arm like chest supported pull down. For that's what I'd probably go for, or maybe like I quite like. It's hard, it's challenging because then you've got to say if I've gone for that, I would then want to go for like a chest supported like pronated row with like your elbow path kind of ticking off the mid to upper back. That's almost what I'd be thinking. But then
So
you could also spin it the other way around. You could have potentially a hammer strength single arm standing like unilateral row, and then you could have a further movement to almost like get another part and target another part. What would you go for?
I'd go for a bent over row because I'm not doing an RDL for my hamstrings like you are.
Oh yeah, yeah,
So I'd go for a bent over row, which would tick off the erectors pretty well as well. I'd probably do it as I'd do like a paused bent row as my
yeah,
main back movement, and then as a lat dominant movement, I'd probably do some form. I think I'd do a single arm row rather than a pull down. So I'd do
okay,
either single arm dumbbell row, single arm cable row, single arm machine row, like a single arm row. I think I connect more so with a row than I do with a pull down.
yeah. No wonder you're so narrow, bro. You're not got
And
any like vertical pull downs. You're so narrow. You need to go for
makes me
super
laugh
wide
that
grip
though. It's
pull
like,
down
oh,
pull downs
oh,
like Arnold.
vertical is for width,
Yeah,
horizontal is for thickness. I was
yeah,
like, well, what if I do a single arm row in the exact same way that I do a single arm pull down? Like, it's not going to make me any wider, is it?
mate. You're doing thickness. What are you doing today, bro? Thickness. Yeah, I'm doing
Oh
thickness.
well, you've
That's
done
what.
a row, so yeah, you can't get any
Yeah,
wider from that. What you're doing a single arm row to solely isolate the lat? Oh no, you're
yeah.
just gonna get thicker.
Right, triceps. What do you think of the tries? We'll do arms. I've
Uh,
got a fantastic one.
oh,
I'm going to go like a close grip Smith press. There we go. Like flat, close grip Smith press. Get a little bit more push activation. I've already gone for that top line, so therefore a little bit lower. And get a bit, obviously, tricep. But what would you be
yeah,
thinking?
I'd probably go for if we're solely like gonna isolate the triceps, I'd go for like a dual arm push down, like
Yeah,
dual rope push down, or like cuff push down, like we do. Like you could say do a close grip press, but then you're also like it's very similar to like you're saying with like like an RDL. Like you
yeah.
can't say that solely hamstrings, you know what I mean? So
Mm,
I'd probably do a cuff push down.
yeah. Yeah, I would if it's an ISO movement.
Yeah.
And then for biceps, I'd go, I'm not thinking too clever here, but I'd probably just do a leaning single arm hammer curl.
Just
Like most amount of load applicable,
just a forward
stability
dumbbell curl,
sound.
probably. Maybe a
Mm,
cable curl. Maybe a single arm cable
yeah.
curl.
Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed, but either way, something like that, something single arm, and I'd probably go for like in a neutral grip if I'm honest. Just again,
About
loading.
what about rear delts?
Rear delts. We're breaking down rear delts. I'd go for an upper back, like a straight bar D handle upper back row, and even though it's not going to be just a rear delt ISO, it's still going to be rear delt musculature that we're targeting. So I'd go for that, but if not, just a rear delt fly. Like, I'm not a fan of face pulls or anything like that. So I'd probably just do like a the prime reverse pec fly. Fantastic for rear delts if you get it to be loaded perfectly.
Let's say we literally had, so we don't break it down at all, and we literally have like one leg movement, one back movement, one push movement. That's
Okay.
it.
Okay, so I go legs, I go hack. definitely. Back and RDL, if we're going to count that. And then push. Okay. Yeah, push. I'll go for a low incline dumbbell or low incline Smith. What about you?
Yeah, probably very similar. Just like squat bench.
Copy me. Come on, man.
No, I do a hack or true squat. Any form of back supported.
Then would do the true squat because he'd rub in that he's so much stronger than me at it. He'd be like, "Oh, is that what you're doing? Haven't trained legs properly in 2 months or longer than that, almost 3 months."
Still, mate, you wouldn't be on what I'm doing on it.
I don't know. My depth is better than yours, so.
No, it's not.
Mate, my depth is so much better than yours.
Not now you're doing it not now you're doing it where you're actually controlling it.
But before my depth was fantastic.
You're just dropping it down into the bottom.
No stability. Just no tightness at the bottom. Just
I do a hack or a true squat or pendulum. I guess if I've got to choose one, I'd probably go with the Cybex hack. If I had to choose a specific one.
Yeah.
Pull, I'd do, well, for back, I'd probably still, I'd do a form of hinge because of obviously then getting the cross transfer to hamstrings that you're not getting as much from the hack. But yeah, would I do an RDL? Would I do a stiff leg? Any that my back doesn't feel fucked on.
Yeah.
Maybe still do the pause bent row. I quite like that. And then push, I'd say the same with like some form of like incline press machine.
Yeah. No, fair enough. It'd be class, if we had someone like who had a guest. This is one of the questions we'll get, a client comes on. And imagine they were like, lower, calf raise, back, I'll do a dumbbell pullover, and for push, I'll do a single arm chest press where you're twisting to the side.
You get one of those, you get one where it's like the one, when your client will send you an alternative, like, oh, I couldn't get on the chest press today, so I did bicep curls instead.
Mate, I told you about the one. I won't say the name. The girl, female, legend. I think she didn't do I can't remember. I think she didn't want to do a low incline Smith, so she did a baseball. And I was like, what? Low incline Smith, baseball. So like she's thinking, right, this is a perfect movement pattern, exactly the same light for light substitute baseball.
I need to get going.
I'll go
quick.
Yeah, I know. We'll do my quick one. And I've highlighted the best one, and we've already kind of answered a bit. But what is your favourite activity to do outside of gym training?
Sad, I don't.
Who says it's my favourite activity anyway? Like training. Oh, I can't be bothered. I don't want to.
Yeah, I don't really have much else outside of it. I'd say obviously like spending time with my family, spending time with Shannon. I like going to the cinema with Shannon. I'd say that's one of my favourite things to do. So I don't have to talk to her. I don't know though. Like I wouldn't say I have. Football obviously used to be like a proper hobby, but I guess I can't really say that now. Like other than watching it, I don't think that's like a exciting thing to do.
No,
we don't do much else, do we? Like
no.
Apart from work and train, like.
And the work is orientated around going to the gym.
Yeah.
So it's either me talking to people about training, or training, like talking to others about my training.
Other people train, like.
Like there's not really much of a.
It's quite sad, really, isn't it? We need to find something better.
No, when you break it down, like the thing is, I don't think I'd regret it. Like if you said to me when I'm 60, if I look back at my 20s, I'd be like, yeah, I love my 20s. My 20s are mint. Like I love what I do. So there's no need for me.
You know what we could say? We could be like, when you want it so bad, there's no room for balance.
No.
That's what balance we can say. Yeah. So that's the answer to that question. We just want it.
Balance is obsolete.
There's no
it's
balance.
Obsolete. I don't need it. Yeah. I don't need it. When
no hobbies are allowed. When my clients check in and they say that they've done anything other than training or talking about training, I have to have a go at them. I'm like, what do you think you're doing? You obviously don't want it. You might as well cancel.
Yeah. And then you say, please don't. Please don't. I was only joking. You said a voice like, I've had to think about what I said.
After that check-in, I'm just wondering how you're feeling about it. I'm really sorry.
Yeah, I'm really sorry about that check-in. He's like, all right. And they're like, yeah, sound. I wasn't being too offended when you said to cancel because I've not adhered.
I had one from. Right. Who was that question from? We don't say who they're from anymore, do we?
No, Zach Fev. I don't know. He's one of my clients. I don't know how to pronounce his surname.
Made it up yourself, did you say?
Zach V. No, God.
Made it yourself. So, Emily Jane, personal training, she says, any sleep formulas you'd recommend? I'm 5 weeks out and sleep is really suffering. Fade out.
Fade out.
I've got to go. So before you look into any supplements, focus on the basics. Are you going to bed, on time? Are you giving yourself a proper sleep routine? Are you making sure that you're not eating too close to bed? Are you relaxing prior to bed? Are you having a hot shower, room cold, dark, all the basic things? If you're doing that and it's still pretty poor, then look into something like fade out, sleep stack, PM priming, all these kind of things. I think a few of them don't come with ashwagandha, do they? So I know in the past that I've paired them with ashwagandha.
Yeah.
I think
say
sleep
ashwagandha
stack
is like the gateway variant of what you'd want. So I'd say first route, of course, would say, right, ashwagandha post-workout or in the evenings, and then you could almost progress onto a sleep aid if needed. Like I quite like fade out. It's a bit more aggressive than support backs neuro PM. But if I'm honest, like it's complete and utter luxury. It's not
you don't
like
need
these aren't needed supplements. And like I would almost say, like if you're getting to the point, obviously I know she's 5 weeks out, and this isn't relevant to her. This is more so for others. Like if you're getting to a point where your sleep's poor and your sleep time, it's probably just a sense of routine and structure. And are you actually challenged in the day? Like are you going to be doing stuff that's actually utilizing mental focus, and therefore you get into your bed and you're tired? Like the little things. That's what I'd be focusing on personally.
I think as well with obviously her being in prep, like obviously she's going to be relatively lean 5 weeks out. So I would say try and minimize your fluid intake before bed, because otherwise you'll be getting up, going to the toilet like 2-3 times. So last 2-3 hours, try and just sort of sip water to thirst. Don't drink too much. And likewise with your food, like more often than not, I'd tell people give yourself a good 2-3 hours before bed. But if you're burning through your food so quickly because you're lean and coming towards the end of a contest prep, then maybe eat a little bit closer to bed so that you're not hungry in the night and waking up, because that's sometimes what people struggle with. Or just add some like a little bit more calories to that final meal, add some fats to that final meal so that it's a little bit slower digesting, so that you're not waking up hungry, if that's one of the reasons why you're struggling to sleep. So we've related it to her there as well.
Exactly. Even though she'll be 5 weeks out, probably on 1,200 calories per day and struggling, she's already having her calories all around the training window.
And I'm like, just add loads of fats into that final meal.
Add loads of fats. And then she's like, she reports to her coach, I've had like 30 grams extra of fat because I really want to sleep. Finn Kelly coach.
Within your target. Within your
and they're like, oh, did they say it? Sound. Let them off. That's fine. No issue. Yeah, right. Do you have another question?
No, mate, I need to go. I'm already late.
Right, sound. Thank you for listening to episode 9 of the Once You're In podcast. Football talk, personal talk, and then the very limited questions we got through. And if you have any further questions next time that we do it, I think it'll be Tuesday. Ask us some questions, please. That'd be lovely.
We need to put the box up in time.
Yeah, we need to put them up in the morning. We put it up with like an hour or two before, so yeah, we'll put them up in the morning. But no, appreciate all the listens, story tags as such. It means a lot. And that's pretty much everything. Episode 9. We'll catch you guys later.